Welcome back to the most exciting corner of the internet where we dive deep into the hottest celebrity stories that have everyone talking. Today we're unpacking one of the biggest music industry shakeups that's got fans divided and critics buzzing with opinions. Before we jump into this wild ride, make sure you hit that subscribe button because trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next in this explosive story. The music world is experiencing a seismic shift right now, and Justin Bieber finds himself at the center of a streaming controversy that nobody saw coming. His latest album release has sparked heated debates across social media platforms, with fans defending their idol while critics are calling it one of the most disappointing launches in recent memory. The numbers are in, and they're telling a story that's making industry insiders question everything they thought they knew about modern music consumption. Let's break down exactly what happened with these streaming figures because the contrast is absolutely staggering. When Bieber's first project dropped, it commanded an impressive 74 million streams on its debut day, setting the bar incredibly high for what fans expected from his follow-up release. Fast forward to his recent album launch, and the numbers paint a completely different picture that has left everyone stunned. The latest release managed to pull in 34.65 million streams on its opening day, which represents less than half of what his previous effort achieved. What makes this even more interesting is that 23.2 memorable million of those streams came specifically from the deluxe edition tracks, meaning the core album itself only generated around 11 million streams. This breakdown has become a talking point among music analysts who are dissecting every aspect of this performance. Industry experts are pointing to several factors that might explain this dramatic difference in streaming performance. The current music landscape relies heavily on TikTok virality to drive album success, and this release hasn't generated the social media buzz that typically propels songs to chart dominance. Without those viral moments that create organic discovery, even established artists can struggle to maintain their previous momentum. The timing of the release has also become a subject of intense discussion among fans and critics alike. Some argue that the surprise drop strategy worked against the album's favor, while others believe that the lack of traditional promotional build-up left many casual listeners unaware of the new music entirely. The music industry has evolved to expect certain marketing patterns, and deviations from these expectations can sometimes backfire. Behind-the-scenes sources are reporting conflicting information about how Bieber himself is handling these numbers. One camp suggests he's completely detached from commercial performance metrics and focuses solely on artistic expression. The opposite perspective claims he's deeply concerned about the reception and studying every streaming report that comes through his team. The physical sales component adds another layer to this story that many people aren't discussing. His previous album sold approximately 5,000 to 7,000 physical copies in its first week, which represents a tiny fraction of overall consumption. Modern music fans have largely shifted away from purchasing physical media, making streaming numbers the primary indicator of commercial success in today's market. Social media reactions have been swift and brutal, with comments ranging from outright dismissal to passionate defense of the artist's creative choices. Some users are calling the performance embarrassing, particularly focusing on how the deluxe tracks carried the majority of the streaming load. Others are celebrating what they consider solid numbers for any artist in the current competitive landscape. The comparison game has become unavoidable as fans and critics stack these numbers against other major releases from this year. Taylor Swift's recent project generated 184.7 million streams, while other pop stars have consistently landed in the 60 to 80 million range for their debut days. These comparisons create context, but also highlight how challenging it can be for any artist to maintain peak commercial performance. What's particularly fascinating about this situation is how it reflects broader changes in music consumption habits. Streaming platforms have created an environment where instant gratification drives success, but they've also made it easier for listeners to skip songs that don't immediately grab their attention. This dynamic puts enormous pressure on artists to create hooks within the first few seconds of every track. The deluxe edition strategy has become increasingly common as artists attempt to maximize their streaming potential through sheer volume of content. However, this approach can sometimes backfire if the additional tracks feel like filler rather than essential components of the artistic vision. The fact that the deluxe tracks outperformed the main album suggests listeners might be seeking something specific that wasn't delivered in the core release. Fan loyalty remains one of the most powerful forces in music, and Bieber's dedicated following continues to show up regardless of critical reception or streaming performance. These fans create a stable foundation that many artists would envy, providing consistent support even when broader public interest fluctuates. Their engagement often extends beyond just streaming into merchandise, concert attendance, and social media promotion. The financial aspect of this story extends beyond just album sales into the broader entertainment empire that Bieber and his wife have built together. Recent business ventures have provided significant financial security, which might explain why there appears to be less pressure around commercial performance metrics. When artists have diversified income streams, they can afford to take more creative risks. Industry predictions suggest this album will likely land somewhere between positions 5 and 10 on the Billboard 200 chart, which would represent a significant drop from the number 2 debut of his previous release. These chart positions matter for industry perception and can influence everything from radio play to future collaboration opportunities. The role of social media in modern music promotion cannot be overstated, and the absence of viral moments around this release has clearly impacted its performance. Platforms like TikTok have become essential marketing tools that can make or break album launches. Without organic social media buzz, even established artists struggle to reach casual listeners who might discover new music through their social feeds. Looking ahead, many industry observers believe Bieber might pivot toward live performance opportunities, potentially including a Las Vegas residency that would capitalize on his extensive catalog of hits. These types of ventures offer artists the chance to connect directly with fans while generating substantial revenue that doesn't depend on streaming metrics or chart performance. The conversation around what constitutes success in modern music continues to evolve as artists and fans navigate changing consumption patterns. While streaming numbers provide one metric of engagement, they don't necessarily reflect artistic quality or long-term cultural impact. Some of the most beloved albums in history had modest commercial launches, but found their audiences over time. This entire situation highlights how quickly the music industry landscape can shift and how even established superstars must constantly adapt to new challenges. The pressure to maintain peak performance levels can be overwhelming, especially when every release gets dissected by millions of fans and critics who have immediate access to detailed performance data. What makes this story even more compelling is how it reflects broader themes about authenticity versus commercial appeal in contemporary music. Artists must balance staying true to their creative vision while also meeting the expectations of fans who have supported them throughout their careers. This tension creates fascinating dynamics that play out publicly through streaming numbers and social media reactions. The discussion around this release will likely continue as more detailed analytics become available and as fans have time to fully digest the new music. Sometimes albums that don't immediately connect with audiences find their footing over time, developing dedicated followings that sustain them beyond their initial launch periods. For those of us who love diving into these industry stories, this situation provides a perfect case study in how modern music careers unfold in real time. Every decision gets scrutinized, every number gets analyzed, and every fan reaction gets amplified through social media channels that can make or break artistic momentum. If you've made it this far, you're clearly as fascinated by these behind-the-scenes music industry stories as we are. Make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all the latest developments in this story and countless others that are shaping the entertainment world right now.